Hello, and welcome to this short training video on how to inventory your FOSS kits. This is important for new and returning teachers and school leaders. The general process is the same as in previous years. However, the central science team will no longer be reviewing spreadsheets, so it's important that these are completed correctly so you get exactly the materials you need for next year. Our purpose and agenda for this training are short and pretty straightforward. The purpose is so that you know how to inventory the materials in your FOSS kit and make sure that you correctly order materials that you'll need for the new school year. You'll see in our agenda, we'll spend a little bit of time talking about why we inventory and the overall science materials ordering process. And we'll spend the majority of time making sure that you feel comfortable and confident going through the Excel spreadsheet and ordering the materials that you need for next year. So why do we inventory our FOSS kits? You'll see on the slide a quote from the FOSS website. Materials management is a key element that often makes or breaks a district's success at implementing a hands-on material-based program. Both new and returning teachers, I think all of us would agree that if we don't have the materials that we need for an upcoming investigation, it makes our lives significantly more difficult. And sometimes it means we cannot move forward with that investigation. So it is critical that we take time once we finish a FOSS kit to go through, check the materials that we have, and make sure that we're correctly ordering new materials so that we have them for the next school year. This graphic shows that you as teachers are an important piece in a much larger process. Without your inventory, your school leaders cannot order the materials that you'll need. And you know best what materials you have and what you need. So that's why it's important for you to inventory each kit. And so when I say inventory, what I mean is go through, count the materials that you have for a given kit. And when I say kit, I mean sometimes it's also referred to as a module, but this is the titles such as environments or planetary science. This is the kit, the module that you've been working out of for the past, usually it's going to span over RP1 and RP2. When you've completed your kit, your knowledge is much fresher about what materials you need. And so that's why we're asking teachers to inventory now instead of looking at the end of the school year and trying to think back to, oh, okay, well, what materials did I use in October for the Structures of Life kit? Instead, we're saying, hey, right now you know best what materials you have and what materials you need. So now is the time to go through this process, inventory, count up the materials you have, and identify the materials that you need. You'll be then sending it to your school leaders who will control it or will reach out to the science materials coordinator. This is, again, either a school leader or a teacher leader in the building who is going to review these Excel spreadsheets, the inventory lists, and actually go through the process of ordering the materials. So, as a teacher, what does it look like for you to inventory your FOSS kit? Step one is to download the inventory list. This will come as an Excel spreadsheet. It can be accessed on the Delta Education website. It has also been emailed to you. You can print the Excel sheet, but please transfer all information back to the soft copy Excel doc to send to your school leaders. Step 2 is to inventory the kit. As you pack the items for the kit back into the boxes, count them. Check the number you have with the quantity listed on the Excel spreadsheet under column E, quantity in the original kit. And I'm going to show you a sample Excel doc in a moment. But if you don't have the item or the number indicated and therefore need more, you're going to mark that on the Excel spreadsheet. So let's take a look at what this Excel spreadsheet actually looks like. Here is a sample Excel inventory list for the 6th grade Diversity of Life kit. Just to give you an overall scope of what this Excel doc looks like, you'll see you have the kit name at the top. This first box contains if you need to make major orders. So you can see you could order the complete course. That's probably not anybody, probably nobody is going to be checking off that box. If you think that you do need to order the complete kit, please talk to your school leaders about that. Most likely, none of us will be marking off anything in this first box, unless you need perhaps some more student textbooks. So you can see here, we have FOSS Science Resource Student Book. You could order them as singles for $22 each, or in packs of 16 for $3.39. If you think that you're going to need more student textbooks, again, I think this is something that you can mark on the sheet, but then also probably a conversation with your school leader to make sure that you have this in the budget, because that will definitely drive up the price of your refurbishment. You'll also see in this first box right here where it says refill kit, I would dissuade you from marking off the refill kit. What that's going to do is it's going to send you most of the consumable items on this Excel spreadsheet. It's not going to send you any of the permanent equipment. And I think it is a much better idea as teachers to go through, make sure that you're only ordering what you need, and you're ordering them as these single items down below. So let's take a look at the rest of the sheet. After core components, you'll see drawer 1, permanent equipment, right? This corresponds with how the boxes were originally delivered to you. Materials may have moved from whether they were in box 1 or drawer 1 to drawer 2. However, this gives you an idea of how you could repack your materials so that it's organized and ready for you for the new school year. You'll notice that you can, they have the item listed here in column B. What is column D shows you the quantity in the replenishment package. This is extremely important, and I will come back to that later. Column E is the quantity in the original kit. This is what I referenced at first, right? So as you are packing the items back into your boxes, what you want to do is count your items and check that the number that you have matches this number here listed in quantity E or column E, because that tells you the quantity in the original kit. So for example, let's say I am inventorying my kit. I'm counting out the number of droppers that I have. I see that I'm supposed to have 32, and maybe I'm down to, let's say, 20, right? Then I know I need to order 12. And I will get into the actual ordering process, how to do that, how to complete column G in just a moment. But first step is just to go through, count what you have, check it with column E here. As you go through, you'll see there are items listed throughout the spreadsheet for the different drawers. It is separated by permanent equipment, and then when we get, in this case, to box 5, there's consumable equipment. These are the materials that FOSS is assuming you will need to have replaced pretty much every year. And then finally at the bottom is, if this is a life science kit, this is the space where you can order your living materials. You'll see that it says it's not included in the kit, and the reason for that is when you get down here to ordering living materials, you're going to be actually ordering a living organism card. And so this card will come to you with the rest of your replenishment items, and you will call that number and actually order the living organisms when you need them. Down here, you'll also see you have the total price. As you complete your inventory and you identify items that need to be reordered and you are adding them here in the replenishment package order quantity, what you'll see happen is, so for example, if I know I need to order 1 vial of brine shrimp eggs because there was 1 in the original quantity, I'm going to put a 1 here. My total price in column H gets calculated, and it will also automatically start adding up any of these total prices in column H all the way down at the bottom. That walks you through the basics of what this Excel doc is, what it does, and counting your items. Let's go back to the PowerPoint really quickly so that I can talk about step 3, and then we'll go back to the Excel doc to show you how to order replacement items. So for step 3, what you want to do is make sure that you have the correct number listed in that column G, the replenishment order quantity. The number written in column G will be the number of replenishment packages ordered. So you need to make sure that you check the quantity in replenishment package in column D. And let me show you what I mean by that. If we go back to our sample FOSS inventory Excel spreadsheet for diversity of life, right? I've already marked down that I need 1 vial of brine shrimp eggs. Let's say I also need 1 camphor tablet. All right, easy enough. Next, I come to these living and non-living cards, right? And you'll see here that the quantity in the original kit was 16 sets. Let's say that some of my sets have become a little misused, they're messed up, maybe they're missing some cards, and I need to replace some. Let's say that I know I have 12 complete kits that are in good shape, but I have 4 that are not, right? So let's say I wanted to just order 4 sets of these cards. If I put a 4 in column G, you'll notice that at first I'm spending $88 for these cards. So that can be an indication, if you have a high number over here, that maybe I'm not doing this quite right. Because as you're completing this, you want to check column D, right? I just talked about with step 3, the importance of going back to column D to check the quantity in replenishment package. You'll see here that you receive 16 sets of cards when you order a replenishment package. So if I only need 4 sets of cards, I should put a 1 here. FOSS is going to send me 16 sets because that's what's in the replenishment package. And yes, I'll end up with extra, but I really don't want to receive 4 over here. 4 times 16, I don't want to end up with 64 sets of cards. It's way too many cards. It's way too much money to be spending for something I don't need. So I want to make sure that the number I'm putting here in column G is correctly ordering what I really need for my students. Let's see another example of this. So let's go down to the dropper bottles. I mentioned these earlier, right? So we have 32 in the original kit. And let's say that I inventory them and I count that I only have 20 and I need 12. Again, I don't want to put 12 over here because that means they're going to send me $208 worth of droppers. No. The replenishment package has 32 in there. You need 32, you really only need to order one. All right, let's take a look at one more example of this with, let's say, the forceps. So you see the original package is 16. The quantity in the replenishment package is 8. All right, if I need any number that is less than 8, let's say I only need 4, right? I'm putting a 1 here because they're going to send me 8 forceps when I indicate that I need a 1 replenishment package. 1 replenishment package is 8 forceps. So if that's looking like it makes sense to you, awesome. This is one of the biggest challenges and one of the biggest difficulties for teachers when they are completing these inventories. This is the thing that if I'm reviewing them, I fix most often, is just making sure that teachers have correctly looked at this column D, the quantity in the replenishment package, and are ordering appropriately. Let's go back to the bottom of this Excel spreadsheet, and let's say that I have gone through, I've indicated things that I need throughout, and now I'm at my living materials. One thing to make note of with ordering the living materials with this spreadsheet, oftentimes they'll have these items here where it says set of 5 live organism cards for diversity of life. And then it gives you some more information. This set includes the 4 coupons listed below, also available separately. So if you need all 5 of these organisms, Elodia, Paramecium, amoeba, etc., if you need all of them, then you want to indicate that here. If for some reason you only need to order some of them, right? You're like, I just want to get Paramecium and amoeba. I'm going to get Elodia perhaps from my pet store, or I have an aquarium at home where I'm going to get this from. Great. So then you want to order these living organism coupon cards separately. What you don't want to do is mark off to get a set of 5 and then also mark them down here, right? As you can see, this is greatly increasing the price, and you're also double paying for these items. You only need 1 coupon card for a living organism, and by marking off the set of 5 and each one of these individually, you've basically told FOSS that you want 2 of these organism cards, which you don't, and we don't want to be overcharging schools. They have limited school budgets. So that's why it's so important to be going through this process and making sure that we're filling out this Excel spreadsheet correctly so that we're not over ordering on items. One more quick note on the over ordering, just because I see it up here with these Post-it notes, and this is just a great example. If you're thinking that, if you're not sure if you're doing this correctly, right, looking at the total price that pops up here in column H is a great sign of whether I'm doing this correctly. So let's say in column E, it tells me that in the original FOSS kit, you get 500 yellow self-stick notes, right? Yellow Post-it notes. Let's say you need to replace all 500. If I put 500 here, right, that says that I'm spending $400 for Post-it notes. That seems absolutely ridiculous, right? So if you end up with a number like that over here and you're going, wow, $400 for Post-it notes, that seems kind of crazy, right? We want to make sure that we're taking a look back at this column D, the quantity in the replenishment package, and you see here that you get 100 Post-it notes per replenishment package. So if I need 500, I want to put a 5 here. When I do that, $4 for 500 Post-it notes seems a whole lot more reasonable and is a number that makes sense. All right, let's go back to our PowerPoint to finish off the FOSS inventory process. So with step 4, you've reviewed your order again to make sure that you have what you need for next year and that there are not too many items being ordered. Again, materials cost the school money, and the cost to replenish items does vary by kit. Life science kits are usually more expensive because they tend to have more consumable items, and there's also the living materials, which, as we saw, are pricey and do add up. However, the cost to replenish most kits should be about $250 to $500, and a single teacher shouldn't be spending more than $1,000 for all of the kits in one grade for 1 year. So if you're going through your FOSS inventory process and you see that you are exceeding $500 and it looks like also that you're going to exceed $1,000 for the whole year, then you want to have a conversation with your school leaders to make sure that you're not over asking for materials, that those are items that are all truly needed, and that this is something that works within your school budget. Once your Excel spreadsheet is ready, you'll send it to your API and your APO, and they have been notified and they will be expecting this inventory from you. And that concludes the inventory process. I'm going to go through these frequently asked questions. These are questions that I have seen either teachers reach out with or have noticed as I have in the past taken a look at inventory sheets and just seen some common mistakes or challenges that arise during this process. So first issue that happens often is that the total price is above budget. So this speaks to what I was just talking about previously. We're above that $500 threshold that in general is where we want to be. If this happens, make sure that you're ordering the materials that you actually want and need. So check the quantity in the replenishment package in column D for individual items. Again, if it seems to be weird to be spending $100 on index cards, it probably is. So make sure you aren't ordering more than what you want or need. Second thing is, it may be ideal to have a full new set of a certain item or to order extras, to have smaller group sizes, but these costs add up. If you're looking at a large order or you need to replace student textbooks, this isn't an automatic no, but you should really check with your API and APO who will know your school's budget much better. Lastly, if you are find that you are having to replace a lot of materials that are not considered consumable, right? On the FOSS Excel doc, they come from what's known as the permanent drawer. Excuse me. These items FOSS is assuming will last year to year. They might not last literally forever, but they should last a number of years, and they are not to be replaced every year. So if you find that you are replacing a lot of permanent equipment, make sure that both you and students are handling these materials properly, right? It is really important that students are using the materials respectfully and appropriately, and we are enforcing those expectations. And also when it comes to once students are done with it, some of these materials, the reality is they need to be cleaned, right? There are basins that need sand and mud and things cleaned out of them. We can't just throw the entire basin in the trash because that basin costs money and it's not expected to be a consumable item. The expectation is that somebody, either the teacher or maybe you can get a student helper, is going to clean these materials and organize them so that they are available for next year. Other frequently asked questions include, how do I order living things? As you saw on the Excel spreadsheet, I showed you how to, there is a space to order living things on the Excel doc. What it means when you mark off that you are ordering something, a living organism, you're actually ordering the card, and the card will come to you with the rest of the replenishment items that you order. When you are back in school for the new school year, and it is typically we recommend about 4 weeks out from when you're going to need the living organism in the classroom, that's the time when you're going to call in the number to order the living organism. So for many of us who need our organisms right away, it means as soon as you're back in the building, you're finding that card and calling in the number. Some of the kits, we might not need the living organisms until later on in RP1 or maybe even RP2, and you can wait a little bit and then call in the number to have those living organisms delivered to your campus. Finally, the last question I receive is, how do I order a teacher investigation guide? While we have FOSS Web and we can access the entire spiral-bound teacher investigation guide and also the soft-bound teacher resource book online, having it in print is extremely valuable. And if this book gets lost, you definitely want to have that replaced. There is not a space on the Excel inventory doc to order a teacher investigation guide. This will have to be ordered separately. So instead, what you'll do is tell your APO, and they will need to pull a separate purchase order to order the teacher book. So this concludes our FOSS inventory process training. As proof that you have watched this video, please send me an email with FOSS inventory video in the subject line. You don't have to write anything in the body of the email. If you still have questions though, please definitely reach out through this email. You can email me directly, as you can see there, marisa.miller@masterycharter.org, and I can help walk you through any pieces of the process. Or if you have a one-off spreadsheet that you'll need to take a look at just to make sure that it is ordered correctly, I am okay with that. However, we will not be, as a central science team, we will not be reviewing all spreadsheets from a teacher or from a campus. Instead, once you are done with inventorying your kit, right? That's the second next step. Inventory your kit, complete that Excel doc, and then send it to your API and APO by January 31st. I know we never have enough time to do all the things that we want and need to do during the school day, but inventorying your FOSS materials is so important. So please find, probably it's only going to take you about a half hour. Find that time on perhaps a PD day after winter break or during benchmark week to count up your materials, identify the materials that you need for next year, and mark those on the Excel doc. All right, thank you everyone. And again, if you do have questions, please reach out. Regardless, please send me an email with FOSS inventory video in the subject line as proof that you have watched this video. And then please inventory your kits and send them to your school leaders by that January 31st deadline. Thank you. Bye.